there's a feeling of connection still when you see that kind of response. If you post something on a website and there's not a way of, I mean, you can track how many hits you're getting, but there's not that interaction that people are liking something or they're commenting on something or they're sharing it with their friends. That's powerful to me. In terms of social media, it's mainly Facebook that we've been using. We've tried Twitter and different things on our website to make it more interactive. But Facebook is the place where we found a lot of interaction with people that like our page. That was a bit challenging getting the numbers up. You know, once you say you have a page, people say, well, so what? But the content needed to be what drew them in. And I find that having the kind of content that creates conversations, things that are really simple, like images work really well. The biggest aha moment for me was after we had gotten a few hundred likes on our page, and past assistants who I had never heard of started to comment on birthdays or anniversaries of core members that they lived with when they were here. So they would remember Peter Porter back in the 70s, and then they would share a little story, a couple sentences, you know. When I lived at the greenhouse, and that was a moment where well, I lived at the greenhouse too. And so Peter is our link here, and I have no idea who this person is, and yet they obviously know who Peter is because they're commenting on his tea time and how he has a routine and that sort of thing. And I know Peter's still doing those things today. And because of Peter's simple way of relating to people, it's a very powerful connection once you have a connection with Peter. So I felt that there was a bond that started to be created with the past assistants who would then start commenting on different things. It also opened up this whole new place where potential assistants, volunteers, could put a face on who we are, albeit online. And you know, there's that screen there, but they could enter into what our community was like. They could see the real faces of who lives here. What are the kinds of things we're doing? There's a barn dance coming up. Well, here are all the images. Well, that looks like a pretty fun bunch of people. They're really living it up, you know. So when I would interview people, you know, as the HR coordinator, I'd contact them and I'd say, so what do you know about us? And it's, you know, they'd cite the website. But more often they were citing our Facebook page and talking with me about some of the interesting things that they were beginning to discover. So I think it puts a human face on an organization when you can highlight, using social media, some of the really ordinary things that you know, you wouldn't necessarily put those on a website because they're, you know, they're less, I don't know, edited, and, you know, that's kind of your public brochure face online, but Facebook allows this more fun interaction where you can be a lot more authentic with some of the kinds of stories that you put out there. They're just really real. Liz and I started the page last year, and at the beginning we had just 2 administrators, and I was posting maybe something once a week. We now have 5 administrators, and these are people that are out in the community. You know, they're seeing what's happening in a program or in a home. These are people that are interested. They're always online. You always see them texting something. So it's, you know, finding those people that are already wired into that world, who like that world, and who want to talk about L'Arche, and who get what we're all about. So they're not just, you know, there needs to be some consistency around some of the content that's coming out, but content's being generated as you walk around, you know. So right now I have a cell phone in my pocket, and yesterday I was at the big house and I saw John Smeltzer there, and John delivers the mail every single day, you know, and he's done that for many years. And there was a brief period when he didn't because he was ill. So now that we see him there, we appreciate that all the more, that here's John doing his job again, and so that's a very significant thing for me. And I pulled out my cell phone and I asked John whether I could take a picture of him and put it on our Facebook page, and of course he was very happy to point to his button that he was wearing, and I snapped the picture and I posted it. So you know, by the end of the day, 75 people had liked that picture. And so that really connected with me. Like, I know why I like that picture. I like it when John comes over to the office. It brightens my day. And, you know, he walks around and he says hi to people and things like that. But there are 75 other people who like that too, for some reason. And so I think it's highlighting those daily aspects in our life that me, as a person, I like that. So that's kind of a guiding principle in some ways. Am I going to like it? You know, because I think a Facebook page does have to have some sense of personality to it. And if there's a, you know, if I pass on the Facebook page to you, for example, for 6 weeks, it's going to look a little bit different. And that's fine. That's the way it should be. So in terms of the value, I think a number of people do value it, but they're not sure exactly how to turn that into real results. And I don't just mean in terms of fundraising or finding volunteers or assistants, but just in terms of the overall awareness of who we are and what we contribute as a community. You know, what are we all about in online? What does our presence look like? It is a place it's a little bit more low-key. You know, you take your shoes off, you stay for a while, you see what people are up to and whose birthday is happening at daybreak, or, you know, some posts can be serious, but most of them, I think, just highlight the everyday stuff that we do. That's what we do. And so I think that that value is not something I'm sure we know yet as an organization. Beyond Ontario, I think in Canada there's probably another handful of communities that have Facebook pages, and quite often there's a reluctance to do too much social media because of the possible risks of, I don't know, privacy, you know, exploitation. You know, you're posting things to get awareness of yourself as an organization. Maybe you want to raise money, but here's the person whose image is being used or whose story is being used in some way. And I could see that argument too, and I can listen to that, and I think it's good to have that dialogue. But in terms of just having a place where we can share a little bit of the stories of people, I think is really, it is valuable in itself. It has inherent value. In fact, if you know someone with a disability at daybreak, and you just go up to them, pull out your phone, and show them their picture and their story that Warren posted yesterday on Facebook, they'll be absolutely delighted. I've never experienced anyone saying, no, please don't tell my story. Don't show people my picture. In fact, very outgoing, gregarious sorts of folks here, even introverted core members, like to have their image. They want to be known. And, you know, while I might be known in that I can reach out and have my own page, and I can write and I can read and all these kinds of things, some core members can't do that. But most of them, in fact, I haven't experienced any of them who would say, no, don't talk about me, you know. And I would always ask. Yesterday when I was snapping John's picture, I asked him, you know, hey, can I put this on our Facebook page? He didn't ask me why. Yeah, go ahead. You know, and he poses. So I think there's something, it's opening, spreading, you know, the story, shining a little light on who we are. And it's a very small light in the big world. But for those 1,500 people, that's something that they've reached out and say, hey, I want to know about that. So that's, to me, the magic of the medium.